Hello, everyone. Welcome to Factory 45 Live, the live show for fashion entrepreneurs. Welcome. I'm going to be talking today to Whitney Cathcart, who is the co-founder and CCO of 3DLOOK. We're going to be talking about virtual sizing and sizing technology. 3DLOOK is the global leader in AI-first mobile body measuring and fit solutions. Kind of a mouthful. But very cool things that 3DLOOK is working on. You may have seen, if you're on the Factory 45 email list, you may have seen email go out a couple weeks ago, or this week, I think, about 3DLOOK and what they're working on. So we're going to talk to Whitney. Whitney, if you want to go ahead and request, there we go. Bring you in here. Let's see. You there? There we are. Hi, Whitney. Welcome.
Hey, nice to see you, Shannon.
You too. Thanks so much for being here and joining us and telling us all about what you're working on.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I have to say it's my first live Instagram, so
Oh, wow.
Technology is working.
I'm honored to be the first. It will be painless and easy. So why don't we just jump right in and you can tell us in your own words sort of who you are, what you do, what 3DLOOK is.
Yeah, great. Nice to see everybody or meet everybody today. So 3DLOOK is a AI first technology company, and we have developed a virtual fitting room. So what we essentially do, our technology at its core measures the human body. So we are computing body data measurements and body shape measurements that we get from shoppers when they're shopping on a brand's website from just 2 photos. So consumers, if I'm shopping on, your brand's website and I land on a product page, we're essentially helping consumers with fit and sizing questions by using their unique personal body shape and body measurement data and a virtual try-on experience. So we are the first virtual fitting room that actually combines personalized size recommendations with virtual fitting room technology so that you can both see what that garment looks like on you, what that clothing that you're shopping for looks like on you, and also at the same time helps you understand what size should I be buying. So that is the technology, kind of the core that we've developed over the last 6.5 years. And we're super excited about it. We've got some amazing customers, both small and large brands. And our mission is really around making it more simple for consumers to figure out what size to buy when they're shopping online, so that ultimately what we're doing is contributing to a more sustainable world and fashion ecosystem by reducing the need to return something. Because let's face it, figuring out what size to buy from brand to brand is confusing.
Yes, and I want to get into all of that, especially one thing that 3DLOOK has said is there's no such thing as free returns, right? So
Right.
we'll get into that. So to break it down a little bit, tell us, maybe you could use like a case study of a current customer, but how do you work with small brands? What does that look like? And when I say small, I mean more of the independent brands or startups.
Yep. So, so our virtual fitting room, which is called YourFit, so YourFit by 3DLOOK, we've actually developed a plugin for Shopify. So, I'm a big believer that today's small brands are tomorrow's large brands, and certainly when I look at my Instagram feed on a daily basis, I'm being introduced to new brands that I literally hadn't heard of yesterday. And and to be mission driven, which is something really important to us, right? So we've developed actually a Shopify plugin. You won't find it live on Shopify because it's still a private plugin. But we developed it purposefully so we could make it really simple for smaller brands to be able to really take advantage of the power that is behind our YourFit virtual dressing room. A lot of the sizing solutions out there are, deep, long integrations. Some can take many, many, many months. Some of them depend on a lot of historical data. But because what we're doing is we're actually mapping a unique consumer's body to that brand, from day one, we can put out an accurate sizing recommendation. So kind of the purpose around the development of the Shopify plugin was so small brands would be able to, use us and have the power of our virtual fitting room. The implementation is actually super quick. It's just as easy as, installing any app on Shopify. What is needed from us is actually contacting our sales team, and you're more than happy to contact me directly at Whitney@3DLOOK.me. And what we do is we actually ingest your or a brand sizing data. So really what I mean by that is the core fit model or fit form data. And we've got a fully automated fit mapping system on our back end. So we get those assets from the brand. And if they want to do a virtual try on, because our Shopify plugin is highly configurable, that's one of the benefits to YourFit for Shopify, is we're getting the brand fit intent data, and then we're getting ghost mannequin data, which is what we use for our virtual try-on technology. That all comes over to our team. We do mapping on our back end. It really honestly can take as quick as a day. It's really up to the brand how quickly they get it to us. But then going live is really installing the app. We go through UAT and you're live. And what we're doing is we are actually mapping the product to the fit. So some of the smaller brands that we work with are pretty innovative in fit, honestly, and they've got, 3 or 4 different fits. So certain products are mapped to certain fits, and we know that on our back end. So it's super easy for consumer because we've already done all that hard work on the back end. So getting started with us is actually super easy. And we developed our Shopify plugin so that we could really, help smaller brands have the same benefits that the larger brands that work with us do.
Very cool. Yeah, it kind of evens the playing field a little bit. Okay, so to recap, really, if a brand was interested in getting started, they could email you directly, or they can email someone on the sales team. I think you guys have also a customer chat on your website.
Yeah.
3DLOOK.me.
Yeah, if you go to 3DLOOK.me, it's not 3DLOOK.com, it's 3DLOOK.me. But if you go over to our website, you can request a demo, and you'll come right into our sales team. And, we do a quick demo. Contracts are super easy. They're like one page. So again, they're made to not be complex, because coming from the fashion side where I spent 30 years, I understand how hard it is to build a brand and what goes into that. We want to make it simple. So really brands can focus on what they're good at, which is, designing beautiful things for customers and really making them happy. And so part of, building an app for Shopify customers, where we tend to see most of these small brands sitting, really making it easy. So yeah, you can, again, either email me direct or go to our website. You go right into our sales team. You'll probably be taken care of a little bit faster if you come coming directly to me.
That's
But
fair.
I'm very involved in the sales process and know all of our customers personally. And that's something that's really important to me as a co-founder.
Yeah. Tell us about the impact you're seeing sort of on brands that are implementing this technology, and what that looks like for them and their bottom line.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, the cost of returns is a lot, right? I was reading recently, there's some cases where it can be 66% of the price of a garment. So if you think about it, returns are costly, right? We want to mitigate them in the first place. I know there's a lot of look, it's easy to return things these days, but it's still a hassle, and it's terrible for the planet. So what we're looking at doing is really mitigating that need to have a return on the front end to begin with. We're mitigating that need for bracketing, which for those of you that are watching, bracketing is what many of us do, and I've really tried to get better at it, but really buying multiple different sizes because you don't know what size to buy. You're trying them on at home, you're using your bedroom as a dressing room, and then you are returning what doesn't fit you. And look, it's a hassle. I've got like a dining room table that's got 3 boxes on it, and it's a pain in the neck to go to the store or go to, whatever, FedEx or UPS. We're wanting to mitigate that on the front end. So what we're looking at first, and what we typically see from consumers that are using our widget, is increases in conversion and decreases in bracketing. So if we're simply reducing the need to buy multiple sizes because we are instilling in the consumer that confidence that the size that we're recommending is the right size for their unique body shape and body measurements. And trust me, we know it better than the consumer, because most consumers don't have a measuring tape, or if they do, don't really understand how to collect those measurements, how to measure themselves properly. And when you go to a brand and you see size charts, I mean, many of these size charts honestly look like Excel spreadsheets. So if you don't understand how to read them, and they're all different, there's no like standardization in fit, and there probably isn't going to be for like the rest of my life. I think we're moving towards customization, not standardization. And that's one of the things that I think is so amazing around kind of technologies that are enabling personalization, is how do we ultimately get to an industry where we're really getting rid of sizes and numbers. I've always believed, or always hoped, one of my own personal missions for 3DLOOK is getting rid of the need for us to all be labeled a letter or a number, like I'm an 8 or a 10 or a medium or a large or whatever it is, but I'm Whitney size or I'm Shannon size. So we're typically looking for conversions, for decreases in bracketing, and then ultimately over time, obviously we want to see those reductions in return rates, and we see them. So consumers that use our widget tend to be more loyal to the brand. They tend to purchase more. So we see increases in AOV, which is around driving revenue, obviously. But also what's really important to us, and certainly important to mission-driven brands that we're speaking to today, I think really everyone, right? Because sustainability and how are we taking care of our planet in every aspect is important. And the fashion industry is a major, major contributor to global emissions. So helping brands really feed into their sustainable business models, it's not just about, what kinds of fabrics am I using, but it's also about how can you call yourself a sustainable brand if you are giving, or you're taking back 30 or 40% of what you're sending out, right? It's just, that's like not even a sustainable business model. So those are kinds of the metrics that we see. It's really dependent on what types of clothing, what are the return rates. So that's a lot that go into that. But we generally see kind of overall between, over time, sorry, I've been talking a lot today, about 4 to 6% in reductions in returns. That's kind of what we're looking for overall.
Yeah, which is significant. And anyone who's just joining us, I'm talking to Whitney of 3DLOOK about virtual sizing and fit technologies. You can also post your own questions in the comments. If you have questions as you're watching for Whitney, we can take some comments or questions from below. In the meantime, how do you think, well, before we get into that, from just to like paint a picture from the consumer side, from the customer side, what does it look like?
Yeah.
How do they use the widget?
Yeah, so you go shopping on your favorite brand's website or multiple brands' website. You're going to land on a product that you love or that you're interested in purchasing, and there'll be a widget there. And it is, try me on, get your size, try me on. Actually, our product itself is highly customizable and also configurable. So as a brand, you can decide, do I want to turn on fit and sizing only? Do I want to turn on fit, sizing, and try on? do I want to offer my consumer the try-on experience only? So as a consumer, though, on that product page, you're going to see our sizing widget. You click into that, and it opens right up into our experience. We have a lot of really cool deep tech on the back end. So, for example, our experience has something called real-time pose detection, which actually walks the consumer through the experience in real time. So our AI understands how you're standing, if you're too close to the phone, if you're too far away from the phone. We've actually trained our AI to understand if you have a face mask on, we'll actually have you take it off. So it's pretty cool, and it all in real time. Yeah, we've identified about 40 different use cases that consumers do right or wrong, and we've built that into our technology. So we want the consumer to have a really easy experience going through this. The whole thing, like from start to finish, takes under a minute. And we snap that front photo and side photo. You can either grab somebody to take that photo for you, or you can, I can't do this because my phone is sitting in front of me, but you grab your phone and you put it on your desk, and you just put it right next to whatever you've got, a coffee mug, or in my case, water here. And we walk you through that front photo and side photo. You do not need to like get down to your, underwear or be naked, right? So our technology has actually been trained on a really large data set of people wearing tight fitted clothing. So just wearing, even a tight t-shirt and a pair of yoga pants or a pair of denim, we're actually able to compute accurate measurements of you.
Wow.
So the consumer takes that front photo, side photo, and then, in under a minute. It's usually processing takes about 30 seconds, 45 seconds. And then that output that the consumer is going to see on their phone is their best size recommendation and the ability to actually try that garment on themselves. So it's actually really cool. I know I'm, biased because it's, I've been at it a long time, but it's very, very complex and sophisticated technology on the back end. And the experience for the consumer is, meant to be fun and engaging and really help them with sizing, so that when they're shopping on a brand's website, they're not going, I wonder what size to buy, or I wonder what that looks like on me. So in a way, we're trying to take that experience that we have when we're shopping in a store, and we don't even feel like going into the fitting room, because let's face it, fitting rooms aren't great. Lighting's terrible. The lines are long. We don't have time. We don't want to get undressed. So we're really taking that experience of, I go into the store, I see something I like, I wonder what size to buy. I'm going to, put it in front of me, in front of a mirror, and be like, do I like the ruffles? Do I like the color? Does the color work with my coloring, with my hair, whatever? That's the experience that we're giving to consumers, is what is that in-store commerce experience like, replicated in a digital way for online shoppers, which obviously online is, shifted a great deal in the last couple of years, and will continue to, by the way.
It will, yes. Very cool. You also think like, okay, it takes a little bit of effort to take your picture, but it's no more effort than having to go to the post office or go to a store in person. I mean, the post office is like, I will do anything to avoid that.
Yeah. And if you think about it, a lot of the companies today, they've digitized that returns process. So you have to go in, you have to, describe why you're returning the item. Mm-hmm. You have to then, get the QR code, print the QR code, unless you're Amazon, and then you can go in. But nevertheless, the behavior, the time taken to go find, I had scissors on my desk here a minute ago, but to find the scissors, to find the tape, to put it back in the box, to wrap it, in that time, you've scanned yourself, you've had a cup of coffee or gotten a glass of wine, and you've done something else for yourself, right? So our experience is, under a minute from start to finish. So is it worth it? I mean, absolutely. Plus, you only do it once. Right. So scan yourself once, and your size on every product on that website is instantly mapped. So we know if you should be in one garment a medium, but in a different garment, it's going to have a different fit, a large. So you don't always wear the same size within a brand. And we do all that hard work on the back end.
Yeah. Yeah. When, there's a lot of discussion, obviously, about consumer data and security and privacy and all, big data. What kind of like data security is in place to protect the customer's data, if any?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're dealing with photos, so obviously, privacy and security is super, super important to us.
Yeah.
We're GDPR compliant, we're CCPA compliant. We've been through, Shopify systems, so obviously we've had to, be able to back up our technology and privacy and data. But we encrypt photos. Two-way encryption. It's a fancy way of saying that your data can never be stolen, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's stored on our back end in our servers. We actually don't collect PII, so it's all anonymized data. We are assigning it a unique ID to the consumer. And then the other thing I think a lot of people don't understand is you're actually in control of your own data if you're like GDPR compliant. So at any point, a consumer can actually request to have all of their data deleted. So yeah, we're very buttoned up. Aside from the fact that we also have enterprise customers, and if you are selling into the enterprise space, you have to have a very high level of security in place. So, we've been very, very in tuned to data and security laws since kind of day one, because we're dealing with consumers' photos.
Sure. Is there anything else you wish fashion entrepreneurs knew about, whether it's e-commerce or UX or sizing or fashion technologies?
Well, first of all, they should contact you, right? Because you're like helping do all the hard work when you're building a brand of the millions of different things that you have to think about, right? Technology is one piece of it, but there's a lot of technology out there today. And so, I think you have to understand, like, what is, number one, what is like the mission of your brand, and find technologies that are going to support your mission. Of course, I'm going to be biased around sizing because sizing is super complex. About 70% of what comes back is because we are confused around sizing. I was in manufacturing for almost 30 years. I would, call myself like an expert shopper, and plus I'm addicted to shopping, and it's hard for me, right? So I think any brand needs to have some sort of sizing technology in place. There's amazing personalization technologies out there. I think that's really important. Like, what kind of experience do you want to give your consumer? And then I think one thing, particularly for all of you guys that are watching today, that are, sustainable brands and really are mission driven around sustainability, designing in 3D, which I know can be terrifying for many, many fashion brands, is actually, I think, one of the most important things that you can do. And there are companies out there that have made designing in 3D cheaper than it used to be, even 3-4 years ago. But a big component of reducing waste, particularly in sampling, is around designing in 3D. So I urge, like, when young designers come to me, or when people come to me and say, I want to launch a brand, I really, really urge designers and brands to actually think about designing in 3D and building their brand around that. Because as you have more companies that actually are going to eventually rely on 3D, like 3DLOOK, we're not 2DLOOK, we're 3DLOOK. That future really sits in 3D. And honestly, if you ever want to do anything in like the metaverse, right, you need to have 3D assets. So I am a big proponent around figuring out ways for brands to actually be using 3D in the design and development process, because I've seen firsthand how much waste goes into sampling, and you can mitigate that by using 3D design tools on the front end. And then take your 3D assets and make the try on even easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I will echo that too. And anyone who is watching right now who is in the Factory 45 program, we have an interview with Vast 3D about 3D sampling and product development inside the portal. So you guys can go check that out if you haven't watched it yet. Which shopping trends, Whitney, we talked a little bit about like fashion technology trends, but any shopping trends you see growing in 2022, 2023?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously re-commerce is, a huge thing, right? I mean, if you think about, I mean, I was like a real shopper when they got started in when was like 2011 or 12. And there's so many companies that have kind of, mimicked that, but there's amazing re-commerce platforms out there. I know, like Trove, which I think is more in the enterprise space, but just the mission behind re-commerce I think is really cool. Obviously Poshmark and companies like that, but I think we'll see more and more of that, over the next decade for sure, as sustainability continues to kind of, rise to the top. And you've also got kind of a more digital younger Gen Zs care more about, they're probably
Yep.
the generation, certainly in my lifetime, that has the ability to really move the needle, not just in fashion, but in general, right, in the world. And we've kind of seen that in beauty and food early on. But that trend, that's not, I don't even call it a trend. It's like a lifestyle shift. And it's
A
a,
necessity.
that, exactly.
And then just to wrap things. Oh,
All right. Video shopping. I think we'll see a lot more video shopping. I think
video.
it's really around being authentic, right? We're seeing less like supermodels and more people like us. But how do I how it's almost like replicating in store, but doing it at home in a more authentic way with your friends. So social shopping, video shopping, sharing. I mean, we're like, I think, in the very early stages of all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I do too. Anyone who does have a follow-up question or just a general question about virtual sizing or any of the fashion technologies we've been talking about, anything that Whitney's covered, you can post that now as a comment. What advice do you have, Whitney, to give to other fashion entrepreneurs who just want to get started using fashion technologies? This may be a very straightforward answer, but any last words of wisdom?
Look, I think you have to do your homework. If your background is kind of design and not tech, I actually urge people to, find a consultant that can help you sort through it. There's so much technology out there, and there's so many cool startups doing so many cool things today. I mean, I could name a laundry list of just really cool startups, but you have to understand, again, like I go back to, what is your mission and what is it that you're trying to do? Like, don't buy tech for tech's sake. Buy technology because it's helping you do what it is that you want to do better. And in retail, mostly in brand, when you're selling, you're trying to create an amazing shopping experience for your customer. And so think about it, like, we're all consumers, right? We all, like, what is it that makes us go back to the same brand? Part of it, I love their clothing, right? Part of it is, I had such a great shopping experience. Their website's beautiful. Discovery is beautiful. Finding my right fit is super simple. Like, you have to really think about, what is it that I want to do to make the consumer experience simple? Because as consumers today, there are millions of brands out there that we can choose to shop from. And if you have a bad experience with a brand, you're just going to churn and go find a different brand that's going to give you a better experience. So use technology as a way to create experiences that, drive brand loyalty and drive engagement. And ultimately for you, drive sales, because at the end of the day, we're all in business and we need to, make money. Otherwise, we go out of business.
That's right. Otherwise, you have a hobby, not a business, as I remind my entrepreneurs. And you have a fan and a customer in the comments here who's singing the praises of 3DLOOK. So there's a testimonial right there in the comments. Whitney,
thank you.
If people want to get started, where do they find you? Where can they find you on Instagram, website, just as a review?
Yep. So Instagram's about 3dlook.me. You can follow me at Whitney Cathcart, although I don't have that many followers because as many of you young digital people that are watching. Go to our website, 3dlook.me. Again, you can email me directly at whitney@3dlook.me. But probably the easiest thing to do is go straight over to our website, request a demo. It goes right to our sales team. We'll get back to you. I hope I can meet as many of you personally as are watching today.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this. It's just very, very cool to know this technology exists. And yeah, just thinking about cutting down the amount of returns and shipping and the emissions from a sustainability standpoint, I am so with this. So I hope that everything continues going well for you. Thank you everyone for joining us live and for watching. And again, you can go to 3dlook.me to learn more about this virtual sizing and fit technology. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, so much, and thanks everybody for watching today. It was super fun, and everybody have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.